Hey folks, this is Matt McQueenie of the Mixed Minus podcast. I'm just doing a quick video hit. This week, on March 21st, Apple had their newest event, and it was not an exciting event. We've become used to Apple having these just amazing events where we are awe-inspired, we are changed as individuals because the newest thing they've come out with is going to change the world. It's going to change our conception of what we can do as humans, and it's going to be something that we're going to be able to use and interact with, and it's going to make us feel like the world is our oyster. And time and again, Apple has now changed that perception to one where they're just another company coming out with a small iteration on a product, or coming out with something that is being pushed ahead as new, but it's really not new. It's something that's old. And that's what they did this week. They came out with something called the Apple iPhone SE. And I've been joking that the SE stands for so eh. And you know what that means. It means that it's like, it's not changing everything you think. It's something you almost feel you could have come up with. And that's not what you want. You want someone to dream for you and to put you into a new stratosphere of living where you're just so awe-inspired by something for a week to a month. And then even when you're not awe-inspired, it's constantly being evolved. It's constantly being added to. Developers are building atop of it. And it's helping you live your life in a way that is better, advanced, human potentiation, all that kind of stuff. And Apple didn't do that. They came out with a new phone that's just 4 inches, just like the iPhone 5, just like the iPhone 5S. And maybe we're at a point now where we want to have small phones again. We kind of went through that, period where we wanted to have an affair with bigger phones like Samsung had, and Apple gave us that chance. They had a 4.7-inch phone, they had a 5.5-inch phone, and it gave us all the opportunity to jump to phablets without having to jump from Apple. And now they're getting to a point where they're saying, well, what else can we add to the mix? Not much. So let's just bring them a new iteration of a 4-inch phone. And I've been thinking about it. I might be someone who goes back to a 4-inch phone at some point. For me, a phone is an audio device for talking, for listening to podcasts, for listening to music. It's not a lot for reading. I'll do some quick email looking. I'll do some quick Facebook stuff, some Twitter stuff, but I can do that on a smaller phone. I'm not using a phablet to read. I already have tablets. Most of us have tablets. And I feel the form factor of a tablet is much better for reading anyway. I don't need a phone to do that. I have the 6S Plus. It's great. You get used to the size, whereas at first it kind of blows you away how big it feels. How does it fit in your pocket? How does it fit in your hand? How does it fit in a workout armband? Not very well, by the way. But you get used to it. But even once you get used to it, you say, do I really need it this big? I might go down to the 4.7-inch, or I might go down to the 4-inch again. I was holding my mom's phone. She has a 5S. And I was thinking to myself, boy, this is easy to hold. And if it's just something I'm using for audio anyway, maybe it's the way to go. But I want to try different things. I'm a technology enthusiast, early adopter, even though phablets are not early adoption. But you know what I mean. This is in stark contrast for Apple to Amazon. Amazon failed with their 4.7-inch phone, the Amazon Fire phone, right? They've not been over the top great with their tablets. I think they're breaking even. They're doing fine with that. They're selling enough. They're bringing the prices down on them. They're a good way to look at Prime content and listen to Prime stuff. There's probably a good use case for them, especially at their price. There was one point where they had like $100 for a six tablet bundle. That's pretty good. So if you want to get in the tablet game at an affordable price from a good company that's not really going to be going anywhere, that might be the way to go. But where Amazon continues to innovate, and it feels like Apple isn't, even though I hope they are. Hopefully they come out with a car, although will that be something we all want? I mean, with some of the issues I've had with iCloud, can you imagine if your car is run on iCloud and then it's just rebooting and you're like, I'm still driving? But Amazon continues to try to come up with ideas. And I don't know about you, but I got this Amazon Echo, which is this cylindrical Bluetooth speaker with a digital assistant in it called Alexa. And Alexa is better than Siri, better than Cortana, better than a lot of these competitor digital assistants that I've come across. But I think it's even better because it's a dedicated device. It's a Bluetooth speaker. It's obvious what you use it for. You can only talk to it. You can't really interact with it. There's no smart screen. There is an app for, I think, for definitely iOS and I believe for Android. But this thing is innovative. Why didn't Apple come out with something like this? It's an amazing thing. Just like the early times with the iPhone, you're waiting for new apps to be added to it. You're waiting for new use cases on top of it. And it's so useful. Even at its base, the Echo is a Bluetooth speaker. So at its base, it's really good. And at $180, it's not a terrible price for a really good Bluetooth speaker. But then when you add this personal assistant on top of it, I love having it in my gym downstairs in my basement here, over there. I can talk to it. I can ask it sports scores. I can ask it questions about Wikipedia. I can ask for news briefs where it gives you briefs from the Wall Street Journal, the NPR, different outlets, and outlets are always being added. It has Spotify integration. It has Amazon Prime integration, obviously. It has Pandora integration. And new integrations are constantly being added to the mix. It is a fantastic product. It's got me excited about a technology product for once, something Apple has not been delivering. And maybe we're done with the smartphone era. Maybe we are at peak smartphone where everything is going to be iterative at this point, as I messed that all up. But you hope it's not. You always want there to be the promise of more. You never want to feel like you're up against a ceiling. You always want innovation, Moore's law, all this stuff to keep pushing you ahead. But sometimes you need to come out with a new product line. And Amazon's done it. They've come out with the Amazon Echo. They just came out with something called the Amazon Echo Dot, which can give you the smart assistant. I've almost been calling it like the top of a muffin without the bottom of the muffin. And you can plug that in through an aux cord to an existing speaker you might have, or it can hook to a Bluetooth speaker you might have. I don't have these around, so I don't understand the use case for it as much, but they're trying to come out with stuff that makes sense, that integrates with the smart home in a way. There will be Nest integration with it, so you can tell it to change the temperature in your house. It's awesome. It just feels next level. But that product, plus Amazon coming out with their own Fire TV product, that Fire TV went up against Apple TV, went up against Roku, and you went, oh, okay, it's just another box that's very similar. If you're a Prime customer, it makes a lot of sense. But what they did then is they came out with a stick, which is basically an Amazon Prime TV, but just in a little stick, a dongle, much like the Chromecast, that just plugs into your HDMI, and that's it. It has a remote. It can interact much like a TV does, but it's a little stick. It's affordable, $39. Sometimes you can get it for $25. It's not like $150 or $100 as a lot of these set-top box Apple TVs, these Rokus, different, Amazon Fire TV itself. It's too much. So let's innovate. Let's find ways, Apple. Where were you with a stick? Why don't you have a stick that's $50 even? That brings your Apple TV to more users at a more affordable price. You could buy 3 of those for your house at the same price you can buy a new Amazon TV or Apple TV for. And I don't even think that thing's that exciting. I'm going to be honest. I haven't been blown away by it. The remote that you can talk to Siri through, it's okay. But I'll tell you what, the remote stinks. When I put it in my pocket and I walk around the house with my 16-month-old, the thing's always moving. It's pausing the TV because it's in my pocket. Where was the use case for that? That's not very nice. If you accidentally roll over it when you're on your couch or your arm goes up against it, it'll pause, it'll fast forward. What a mess, but that's for another story. But Amazon's trying to iterate, innovate. Sometimes innovation is iteration. And they've come out with a stick. They've come out with the Echo, and Apple's sort of on the sidelines. Who would have thought Amazon, who was the cut the margins, sell products at cheaper prices, the virtuous cycle. Who would have thought that they would then turn and become the company that is potentially out innovating Apple at different steps? Let's call it there. Keep listening to my podcast, Mix Minus Podcast, on all the different podcast directories. You can find all my stuff at MatthewMcQueenie.com. You have a good Easter whenever you listen to this. It might be way past that, but enjoy it. Thanks.